Cancer conwoman Belle Gibson.
Belle Gibson admits she made up the whole story.
Notorious cancer conwoman Belle Gibson.
Belle Gibson, she gave terminally ill cancer patients false hope.
She was the celebrated wellness guru, a young, vibrant woman who claimed to have beaten terminal cancer through nothing but natural remedies. She built a brand on hope, clean eating, and a story that inspired millions. But it was all a lie.
For a person living with brain cancer, might I add, you look incredibly healthy.
This is the story of Belle Gibson, the influencer who fooled the world and lost it all. In 2009, Belle Gibson reported experiencing vision problems and difficulty walking. Soon after, she claimed she was given a terminal brain cancer diagnosis and given just 4 months to live. But instead of following traditional cancer treatments of radiotherapy and chemotherapy, she claimed to have turned to a whole foods diet and alternative medicine, detoxing, oxygen therapy, and a holistic lifestyle, beating the disease against all odds.
There was a moment where it was, how am I going to make everything that I've learned, everything that I know accessible to the masses?
Her wellness app, The Whole Pantry, was launched in 2013 and quickly gained traction with over 200,000 downloads in its first month. She secured a global following, her story was captivating, and people wanted to believe in miracles. Gibson's brand took off, and even Apple planned to feature The Whole Pantry as a flagship app on the Apple Watch. Gibson was on top of the world, and a book deal soon followed. She was no longer just an influencer. She was a movement.
It's essentially a recipe collection full of whole foods and vegetarian recipes.
Then, in 2014, Belle posted a shocking message to her followers. I have cancer in my blood, spleen, brain, uterus, and liver. I wanted to respectfully let you each know, please don't carry my pain. I've got this. Support from her loyal followers poured in, messages from around the world. But behind the scenes, the cracks were starting to show. As her success grew, so did the scrutiny. The Age investigated Gibson's claims that she was pledging large sums of money from her app's earnings to various charitable organisations. Except those charities have no record of receiving that money from Gibson. And then came the biggest bombshell.
She doesn't have cancer.
In an interview with Australian Women's Weekly, Belle Gibson finally admitted she never had cancer. I'm still jumping between what I think I know and what is reality. I have lived it, and I'm not really there yet. No, she confesses, none of it is true.
She says she had a very troubled upbringing, that she was basically left on her own from the age of 5, and that's hard to verify.
Her confession shattered the trust of thousands who looked up to her, especially cancer patients, some of whom followed her advice.
I thought, if she can do it, I can do it. And, I had serious conversations with my haematologist saying, I'm not going to do chemo anymore.
Her entire story had been fabricated, and the wellness icon who had inspired so many had in fact built her empire on lies. Belle was hated, and the wellness industry faced backlash. In a televised interview in 2015, Belle Gibson scrambled for excuses, even blaming the alternative medicine practitioners for leading her to believe that her body was riddled with cancers. But the damage was done. The public saw her as a manipulator, not as a victim.
If people followed her advice and didn't have the medical treatment that they needed at that time, then they could die.
Consequently, the Federal Court of Australia found Gibson guilty of misleading and deceptive conduct. She was fined over $400,000 for fabricating her cancer diagnosis and for lying about donating to charities. Belle Gibson never showed remorse and even refused to pay her fines, with authorities raiding her home on multiple occasions. But she continued to evade accountability.
She's lied. She's stolen money off people. She should go to jail.
Belle Gibson's downfall wasn't just about deception, It was a wake-up call to the world. It exposed the dark side of the wellness industry and the dangers of misinformation.
Are you sorry for lying to so many people about having cancer?
Her story is a cautionary tale, a stark reminder that not everything on social media is true. And when it comes to health, skepticism can be a matter of life and death.